All right, 7:15 on the dot. Good Tuesday evening, Cincinnati. I'm Fox 19 Now First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart. A little gloomy out there today. Gloomy, but otherwise not terrible. We have seen a few sprinkles. Most of that came before midday in most spots. In terms of total rainfall, not a ton. Owenton picked up a bit there, 0.3 of an inch, just over a quarter in Williamstown. You'll note most of the rain all in Kentucky earlier on today, at least the official reports. As much as just over a tenth as well at the international airport. Now that is so far. We do have more rain on the way before midnight tonight, and that'll be rolling in from south to north. So if you're in Kentucky, you might have a little bit more before the widespread wet and windy weather takes over for Wednesday and Thursday. Our weather number today is 0.95 in the negative. That is the deficit so far this month, almost a full inch, right? We need some more rainfall to try to break that deficit. We'll try to close it out altogether in a couple spots here before we hit the end of the day Thursday. Some areas could pick up over an inch and a half of rain. Some areas could only pick up about a tenth or less. So it's going to be feast or famine when it comes to the rainfall here the next couple of days. Still a big surplus for the year. But nonetheless, that is why Wednesday and Thursday both designated first alert weather days. We're not going to see severe weather with this, but we are going to see disruptive weather. So if you're going to be out and about, driving, trying to get a run in, we're going to have some wet leaves. That makes things slick outside. Some areas, again, over an inch of rainfall. It's going to limit the visibility, put puddles on the roads, and it doesn't take more than a couple sprinkles. You saw how that worked out this morning. A few sprinkles, that's all we had. Not much in the way of significant rainfall here on your Tuesday, but it slowed things down to a crawl in a few spots and led to some backups and wrecks this morning. So you can only imagine what more potent rainfall will do, and that'll be arriving again the next few days. So here's right now, and it's a whole lot of nothing outside, at least for the time being here just after 7 o'clock. But as we start to work our way towards 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight, that rain will be pushing back in ahead of a wet start to the day tomorrow. 57 is where we find ourselves. At the airport, a lot of clouds. Rob made note of that. It's been pretty gloomy today. That cloud cover kept temperatures about 4 to 6 degrees below normal in a lot of spots, but it's going to be a slow drop this evening. Back into the mid-40s at worst tomorrow morning in most spots, so only about a 10-degree drop between now and early tomorrow morning. And with that, some rain is on the way. You can see some of those spotty showers already pushing up towards Louisville, Lexington area, seeing a few spotty showers. But a lot of rain to go as this big low starts to swing out of the Great Plains. It'll go scrape past the Memphis area and then loop its way back up the Ohio Valley near Pittsburgh or so. And like I said, it's going to keep the rain in the forecast the next 48 hours. Not just that, but since high pressure is in close proximity there near Toronto, there's going to be quite a bit of wind. Those two systems, they don't get along, and when they're very close together and fairly intense, you could see some higher winds, and we could see some gusts the next 2 days, 20 to 30 miles per hour plus at times. And, we'll take that 10 times out of 10 over a hurricane, and this is one of the worst ones we have seen in the Atlantic Basin. Luckily, Melissa here has weakened quite a bit from just a few hours ago. It's pushed its way over the Blue Mountains there in Jamaica, and those mountains are a little over, I think, about 7,400 feet or something like that, at least 7,000 feet in the central part of the island. So that helped to disrupt the flow enough to weaken that storm, but look at it, it's still a Category 4. Even after all of the land interaction it has seen for the past, 6+ hours. Winds are still sustained at 145 miles per hour, but this storm made landfall with estimated wind speeds of 185 miles per hour. That ties it for the most intense wind for a landfalling hurricane in the Atlantic of all time. Number one spot. The pressure at one point, it's now up to 921 millibars. That's just a measure of, sometimes you hear inches of mercury, right? In this case, millibars is another sciencey way of giving you the pressure, right? It's one of our units of measurement we like. And in this case, 921 is extremely low, but earlier today it was at 892. Lower is worse when it comes to pressure in a storm, right? High pressure is good. Big blue H means happy. 1014 is pretty good. 1012 is pretty good, and that's nice and high. But when you start getting about 100 millibars less than that, it's not great. And when you start to get below 900, that puts you in record territory. In fact, at 892, that makes this the third most intense by minimum pressure hurricane in the Atlantic Basin ever. So a very, very potent. You know, the other issue with this, outside of the wind, outside of the pressure, it's just this storm is just so slow moving. It's been sitting around Jamaica for, I feel like, 24 hours at least. And it's just now starting to pick up some of that north-northeast speed. Our storm system we're going to see outside for Wednesday and Thursday is going to help to sweep this thing away. If we didn't have a cold front coming in and high pressure, let's say, was a little bit closer to the east coast of Florida, I mean, this might go right up into the Gulf, but it's not going to happen. Cold front will help to sweep this back out into open waters, but not before it goes through Cuba, the Bahamas, and probably Bermuda as well as a Category 2 storm up that way by early Friday morning. So still Category 4 strength. It's going to be Category 4 as it makes another landfall with eastern Cuba. That's going to be near, let's say Guantanamo, just west of Guantanamo, right? Working its way through the central portions of the Bahamas. And what you're seeing here is a couple different colors. The red in the middle, that's the cone, right? The official forecast cone. Anywhere within that red cone is where you could see the center of the storm. But I just put another layer on there. That yellow that's kind of flowing outside of the cone is tropical storm force winds. So, you know, it's not all just within the cone. You're going to have big impacts outside of that. They're seeing some tropical storm force winds in western Haiti, all the way into central Cuba, west, even farther west into the Bahamas. And you can see just how far those impacts extend outside the cone. It's not the widest system or anything, but certainly they're seeing impacts outside. That will make that a little bit brighter so you can see. You can also, if you look close, you'll see some impacts. Let's see here. I can grab this and zoom in a little bit. The darker red shade is hurricane force winds. So they're going to be seeing those all the way through central Cuba. These are portions of the Bahamas that are going to be seeing that. Duncantown, Clarencetown, Snug Corner, Pirates Well, I think was one of the areas in there. That's just off of the east, but either way, they're going to be seeing some high surf and some issues all the way through Port Nelson. And then, Marsh Harbor going to catch a little bit of a break with that as well. So Miami, any areas in Florida, not going to be seeing any major impacts. I mean, they'll still see some breezy conditions, but nothing like tropical storm force winds. So William here asking, how's Melissa going to affect the weather here? It's not going to much. The only thing we are going to see here is it's going to ramp up some of the pressure gradient. What that means, layman's terms, is that we're going to see some gustier winds to close out, Wednesday and Thursday in particular. It could drag in some cooler air maybe into this weekend. It'll be kind of an influence to help drag in some cooler, drier air into, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because as this storm by that point, you can see where it's going to be on Friday over here. Kind of near Bermuda, which is hiding there in the red shaded area. Again, getting hit with another hurricane. So it's just essentially Bermuda's right where that 2 is spinning there, where it's going to be a Cat 2. So you put a low over here. Let's say that is, that was a bad drawing. Okay, we'll say that's the hurricane, right? At that point, we'll have high pressure back this way, getting ramped in, and then we'll have kind of a low of our own, helping to sweep this storm away. I don't know why it's way off like that, but either way, we'll have this, and you can see how the arrows go around those systems. Coming in from this way, you'll have that high off to the west, and what we then get is this funnel of that cooler, drier air sweeping in like this. So no direct impacts per se, but and even the storm system, itself isn't going to really have an impact on our winds, making it breezy the next couple of days. When we have the high winds here, it's not going to be associated with that storm at all, but just the direction of the wind will help, get influenced by this storm. It'll help to pull in that north wind for the weekend and make things a little cooler outside and keep us dry anyway. So no direct impacts necessarily, nothing big, but, north wind, drier air will be kind of the impact for Halloween and the start of November. But again, no major impacts for us. That's the good news. Let's clear that off. Oop. All right, so that is it on Melissa. It's still hard to tell exactly what impacts we've seen so far. I've just seen kind of social media videos rolling through that I don't have permission to use on this stream, but you can find them yourself. It's pretty easy out there. Just some nasty footage, just really bad stuff. A lot of flooding, because this system is just crawling along earlier today. It only recently, within the last few hours, sped up a little bit. But late last night when we were on the stream and through the overnight hours, it was only moving about 2 to 3 miles an hour. And when you have a system that has sustained winds of 180 miles an hour, and it is just walking at human pace, basically, a nice comfortable walking pace, it's just going to do a ton of damage. So high winds for them, and just torrential flooding, especially when they have the topography like they do, the Blue Mountains, which run through the middle of Jamaica, right? It's great to get out of the storm surge and stuff like that, but on the rainy side of the mountains, you're just going to have just deluges of rain coming down those things. So landslides are a big problem they're going to be facing there in Jamaica. And yeah, I mean, you can see where that storm is. That's the current position. It is still right now just to the east of Montego Bay, and it is crawling along. I'm not 100% sure. I think each one of these dots represents 6 hours in between those different spots. I could be wrong on that. It could be 3, but either way, I mean, that's 6, 12, 18, almost 24, right? 6, 12, 18, 24 hours almost. It's been working its way across. You know, just a nasty, nasty storm. And it's been a Category 5. The bright pink shade there in the line. Where's my other thing? Here we go. That is since it's been Category 5. Dark red is Category 4, and it's just been looping around. And that, all of that time frame there is what it's been given to just strengthen and be a monster that it was. So, very little wind shear, too, to help tear it apart. Now, like I said, our storm system is rolling in. If I put this back on here, let's switch this around. Whoop, let's go back one. How about that? Make this a little easier. That's our storm rolling in right now. Again, just kind of think of the position here. Oklahoma, Missouri, where all the red is there on the radar. There, down here, is the storm. There are no radars. If there are, they've been knocked out. But I think the closest radar we here are going to get is going to be probably out of the Bahamas and Miami. That's why you're not seeing much rain down in Cuba or anything. We don't have any radars that are available in Haiti or any of that. But so all you're seeing is a satellite data. You're just seeing the clouds, right, that the satellite's picking up on infrared. Our cold front will help to essentially kind of just push this away. Hurricanes don't love cold air. And so it's kind of like oil and water. It kind of repels it. It'll push it off to the east. And that's why it's going to make this kind of beeline up here towards the Bahamas, Bermuda. Well, the Bahamas and Bermuda, because these are the Bahamas. Anyway, just a nasty, nasty storm. And we'll probably have, here's the problem, too. A lot of the videos you're seeing from the major news networks and other people, they've all gone to Kingston. It's an easier airport to fly into. Also for the safety of those reporters, it's a much safer spot to be. Kingston being over here, right? Oh, sorry, that's Cuba. I'm totally in the wrong spot. Hold, please. I know what island I'm on. There it is. All right, so I didn't have to point to it. Kingston over there. So a lot of the reporters have been on that side. But as we rolled through this, hold, please. Going through this one more time. All right. Let me swing back down here. Sorry, I know we're going around a lot, but you can see Kingston, you know, a lot of the videos coming out of there, people are like, oh, it doesn't look too bad, right? All the live cameras we're seeing, oh, it's not that bad. You're seeing the live cameras because it wasn't that bad in Kingston necessarily, right? It's not that they're not going to have damage or anything over there, but you can see in the red shaded area, make this a little brighter, those are the areas that are still seeing hurricane force winds, and it's just not impacting the eastern, you know, corner of the island where a lot of the people are stationed. But the mountainous areas of Jamaica, you know, are in the western half and central Jamaica. They are, because that storm trekked over the western kind of corner there and went right into Montego Bay. So here's the issue. You're seeing a lot of these videos come out, and you're saying, okay, well, that doesn't look too bad, but you're not getting the videos from the worst hit spots because you're not going to have cell service. The only way those videos are getting out is if you have a storm chaser that took with them, you know, some sort of satellite internet service to get that out, because a lot of communications, power is going to be out in those areas, and it's just tough for people to get those videos of some of the hardest hit areas out, right? And those people probably aren't really concerned with taking video for you because they're trying to survive. So we'll get a better idea, I think, of this tomorrow. You know, just how bad the damage is in western Jamaica, central Jamaica, once this storm pushes back a little bit closer to Cuba. And then we can start to get, you know, kind of aerial footage of how bad some of this damage has been. And it might be, you know, days until we really figure out the full scope of how bad this was. But it easily is going to be one of the worst, probably top 5 worst hurricanes in the Atlantic. Aurora, see any rain or storms tomorrow. All right, enough about Melissa. Let's hop back to local stuff because I have a feeling a lot of you are on here just for that. Tomorrow and Thursday, first alert weather days, they have that designation, not because of severe weather. I want to make that clear again. We talked about this yesterday. No severe weather Wednesday and Thursday. That does not mean it's not going to be impactful weather, right? A lot of rain, especially late Wednesday into Thursday. And on top of that, very breezy. And with all the leaves that are falling, that creates a different problem because all the leaves, when they get wet, you probably experience this, they get slick, right? Not just for driving, which is one issue, but, with walking around, trying to run, go on a trail run or anything, those leaves can get pretty slick. So be careful out there. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's going to be impactful because it only takes a few sprinkles around here to bring everything to kind of a screeching halt. So with that, I do expect, especially late Wednesday into Thursday, some issues out there with the travel department. If you looked ahead to Friday there, some good news. Halloween does look pretty good. We'll talk about that forecast coming up. Let's head through this first. Aurora, will they see any rain or storms tomorrow? Yes, Aurora. Specifically, they're asking about like right here. Could Aurora see any rain tomorrow? Yes, you could see rain as early as the morning drive tomorrow. And areas generally around and southwest of downtown have the best chances to see wet roadways tomorrow morning. We'll catch a little bit of a break into the afternoon. Now, don't be surprised if you're up here, Fayette, Union, Butler, Warren, Clinton, Highland counties, and you don't see any rain at all through the early afternoon, right? If you're not seeing any rain, don't be like, oh, wrong again, Brad. You messed up again. No, okay, look. It doesn't have to rain all day, but here's what happens. By the early evening, it will. Here comes that next wave of rain, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. It's going to start to fill back in. We'll catch a nice break through the afternoon. Your lunch might be okay and pleasant, but here comes the rain. And then it gets pretty intense as you work way past sunset tomorrow. You see a lot more yellow and red showing up here, or yellow and orange. And 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and then we hang on to that through much of the overnight. Heaviest rainfall overall, I think, arrives after sunset Wednesday. Continues right on through Thursday morning. We'll see more intense rainfall out there for the Thursday morning drive, especially east of town. Expect slowdowns. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It just always does. And then late Thursday into Friday, we're going to start to dry back out, but not before some areas pick up over 1 inch of rain. It will happen. Those areas there east of town, that is an estimated in the blue shaded area 1+ inches of rain. The rain totals drop off significantly as you head west and northwest of town. So anywhere from Harrison up to Connersville, maybe less than 1/4 of an inch in a few spots, right? So feast or famine with this one. Don't forget, you can take us with you on the go. Hopefully that answers your question. And the answer is yes, you will see rain tomorrow. Not everybody, but most people. And over the next 48 hours, just about everybody will see some sort of rainfall. Again, some just more than others, and it just depends on the time. If you don't see any rain early tomorrow, you're likely to see it by late tomorrow. Download that First Alert Weather app. Great app to take with you on the go. Things do improve for Halloween, which makes the mummy and Brad very happy for Friday. So if you're going to be out, maybe he's a little bit more like this. You can tell they used a model of me to do this. Yeah, it'll be great weather outside for trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, any kind of outdoor plans. You're just going on a pub crawl or something. It's not going to be too hot. It's not going to be too cold. Upper 40s for most of the evening until we hit the late evening. Even by 10 and 11, we're still in the mid-40s, right? That's not bad for this time of the year. And it's just mostly cloudy. We don't really have much in the way of rain opportunities there. Just the slimmest opportunity for a sprinkle Friday. But your trick-or-treating plans look great. Really, really nice. Could it be a little warmer? Sure. But then you run into the risk of the people with the really hot costumes being too hot. So I really think this is the best of both worlds for everybody. If you do have a costume which is not that involved, maybe a jacket to take with you or something, or some leggings to stay a little warmer. But either way, really nice for Halloween. There's the stray sprinkle chance. Not a whole lot going on in that department. Rest of Friday, especially the later we get in the day, better the weather gets. Friday, high school football. Cloudy. I mean, there will be a lot of gloom even once we get past Wednesday and Thursday, but still not bad. Your Halloween trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating plans all look good Friday night. And then Saturday looks great too. Just a stray chance for a sprinkle early. A lot of that moves out by midday. And the rest of your Saturday, gloomy. Sunday, gloomy. But great for the Bengals game. And don't forget, Daylight saving time comes to an end at 2 a.m. Sunday morning. What that means for you is that once we hit 2 o'clock, the clock goes back to 1 o'clock again. With that said, I don't know if they're still doing it. Back in the day, a lot of the bars, if you're out late Saturday night, they will stay open an extra hour. You get an extra hour in late Saturday night. Or, if you're just sleeping like me and enjoying the back of your eyelids into early Sunday morning, you will get an extra hour sleep. So if you're waking up and your alarm goes off at, let's say, 10 or 11 or something like that, you're getting ready for Bengals tailgating, you're wondering why you feel so rejuvenated. It's because you got an extra hour sleep through the overnight. So that's what we get. We get the extra hour sleep. With that said, sunset time on Sunday, November the 2nd, is 5:34. Everything moves back an hour. So with that said, the FC Cincinnati match, game number 2 out of best of 3 series with those people up in the north. But the other town we don't talk about, that game is at 6:30. The sun will have been down for an hour for that. So no issues outside. The skies, as you can see, by late Sunday do start to clear back out, and we will see a nice sunny stretch Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Thursday, the sunshine gets a little bit filtered. And then our next best chance of rain after this will arrive next Friday. So we've got a nice dry stretch in between for you to take care of some outdoor work if you got anything this weekend, some chores Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before things start to ramp back up. What are the chances for snow on Thanksgiving? I wish I was a genius because I would be able to tell you those things, but I can't because that's way too far out. Generally, climatologically speaking, we do typically see at least a trace of snow most Novembers, right? Maybe not even most. I got to look at that, honestly. But the chances at least are there. The temperatures are usually normally cold enough. Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati-wise, from all I can remember from previous Thanksgivings, it's kind of like Halloween. It's a mixed bag. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's very nice. Sometimes it has been snowy in the past where it does disrupt travel, so... chances for snow, man. I know I have this written down somewhere else, but I want to say that it depends on the year. The long-term outlooks have kind of near normal precipitation, but that's only through the middle of November, and it has above normal temperatures through the middle of November. It's not to say that can't flip by Thanksgiving, but that's a long ways out. I don't really want to speculate because I don't want to freak anybody out this far out, especially. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those holidays. It's one of those times of the year for us that could go either way. It's like Reds opening day too. It's just one of those fringe. It's right in the transition period. You can have a really nice opening day, or you could have a really lousy one. It could be cold. It could be snowing, and that's just how it kind of works. So we'll have an update on that, because Thanksgiving is almost exactly a month away. It was a month away from yesterday, so we'll have some updates here in a couple weeks. But up until now, it would just be kind of climatologically speaking. By the end of November, it's usually normal lows are back in like the low 30s, and highs are usually back in the low 50s or upper 40s, something like that, I think. So it's just one of those that could go either way. All right, rain chances, because we don't have any snow chances. Rain chances, the next 10 days at least. Best chance will be, I think, Wednesday night and early Thursday. And then Thursday evening, we're drying back out. Halloween Friday looks good. And then most of the weekend. Outside of a sprinkle here or there on Saturday, it shouldn't really interrupt your plans all that much. Temperatures, we're going to start the forecast. First 5 days below normal. And then we're going to flip the script there as we work our way towards the tail end of the forecast. We're back above normal by a couple degrees. So as low as 51 on Thursday. We do rebound a bit into Friday. Friday morning could be a little crisp out there as skies clear out a bit, but we'll see mostly cloudy skies for Friday to it. Again, not bad for Halloween. It could be worse, could be better, but we'll take it. 53, certainly better than Wednesday and Thursday. Here we go, make this full screen for you so you don't have to look at me anymore. And cross zoom. There we go. Halloween stray sprinkles, same with Saturday, but most of us are going to stay dry. Daylight saving time coming to an end Sunday early in the morning. Your clocks, most of them should set themselves, so don't be too worried about that. But don't go off the microwave or the oven and expect that to be right. Because if it does not fall back, you will be... Oh, I always get this wrong. I got to think about it. Let's see. If I go to work and we fell back, and it says 10 on my microwave. It's actually 9. I will show up early. Okay, you'll be early to everything on Sunday. Took me a second. I had to do that one out loud. All right, let's see. What will the wind gusts be? Wind gusts there for Wednesday and Thursday, about 25 or so Wednesday. That could pick up to about 25 to 30 early Thursday. And then we'll start to calm back down. It's enough that you'll want to be careful with the holiday decor. I don't think it's going to be as bad as our last wind event. So if you got through that one unscathed, this one shouldn't be too much of a problem. But we could see some gusts at times over 30 miles an hour, and then we'll calm down into Friday. Not too much more wind to speak of by the time we hit Halloween. Weekend looks pretty good. Bengals here in town at 1 o'clock against the Bears. And who knows what Bengals team will show up for that. Monday, Tuesday, we do clear back out. The gloom will be gone. Enjoy some free vitamin D because it's going to start to get pretty scarce here towards the end of the year. You know how it is. December, January, and February, it's a perpetual gloom that will be hanging around. Perennial? Perpetual? I don't know. I'm hungry. Wednesday, sunshine still. Thursday, sunshine just filtered at that point. And then by Friday, that's our next chance of rain. So it's, like I said, day 10 is when we'll see the next best chance for some showers. Maybe a rumble of thunder. We'll keep an eye on that. Anyway, that's the 10-day forecast. Not bad. Some of my best work. A little gloom here and there, a little doom, and then we're back to sunshine next week. Speaking of sunshine, if you want some sunshine, go follow my Facebook page because it's always sunny there. Meteorologist Brad Maushart on that. It is Brad with 3 A's. I don't do much on the Twitter anymore, but, you know, it's there. And then Instagram. You probably, if you were following me already, you probably caught numerous pictures of beignets and coffee and New Orleans and the LSU Tigers and all kinds of fun stuff. That was, went on a little weekend vacation, a little long weekend down in the deep south, saw some friends in Jackson, and it was great. And I will take partial responsibility for getting Brian Kelly fired. So go Tigers. All right, you can follow me there. It's Call Me Brad. That's more personal and just kind of on the, you know, I don't know. You never know what's going to show up on that, honestly. A lot of FC Cincinnati retweets because they are in the playoffs, and they won yesterday. I was a little more distracted on the stream yesterday. I don't know if you noticed. I think I said I was about 10 times. But they did win last night, so they're up 1-0 in their playoff opening series with the people we don't talk about up to the Northeast. And they play there again on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. All right, follow me there. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I've been talking way too long. It's 7:42. We will be back tonight. I say that now. Let me clarify. We will hopefully be back tonight. Now, the World Series, as you know, Game 3, went to 18 innings until about 2:50 last night. We will not stay out here that long. I know I won't be. Finally went home last night at 1 in the morning. And it was still the 12th or 13th inning. Anyway. If the game ends at a reasonable time, we will be back tonight. Usually that's about after 11:30 or so, so if you're not up, that's all right. You still got to catch the stream, and that's the important thing. But if you are, join us then. We'll be back late tonight whenever this game wraps up, hopefully in regulation. And whoever wins, I hope that both teams have a good time. All right, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you maybe later tonight, probably later tonight. If not, we'll see you the next couple of days. Batten down the hatches. First Alert Weather Day starts tomorrow. We'll see you tonight or tomorrow or at some point.